for the state legislators. I know Trump loves to talk about his electoral college victory. A lot of people know that to actually get rid of or change the electoral college, a lot of people think you would need an amendment, but there is something called the National the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact. I think New Jersey's already on it.
I don't think.
I think they've has legislature passed it.
Oh, you did? Okay, but he didn't sign it. No.
I guess wait for her. But there's another thing I think that I think the states might be able to do next time. I know some states have passed laws to now to require that candidates provide their tax returns. Has New Jersey already passed that? To be on the ballot?
The bill is pending. It hasn't gone for a vote.
Yeah, we did it on Thursday.
Go ahead.
We did it on Thursday.
In the assembly?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the issue there, of course, is
Well,
that
I
the
mean,
only
the
way
governor-
that happens through Congress is if the three committees, either Ways and Means, the Senate Finance, or I think the Joint Committee on Taxation, were to demand, well, they wouldn't even have to demand, just ask the IRS to hand it over.
Right,
But
that may happen as a result of the.
But it hasn't happened yet because the Republicans, control those committees and they're not willing to do it.
Right.
All right.
So anything is going to have to be the state level. I mean, so there is more control at the state
There is
level.
only one state with a bill out there
Yeah.
asking for tax returns in their own state.
In order to be on the ballot, I guess in 2020.
Right, in order to be on the ballot in their state.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we can keep asking for it and advocating, and maybe it'll happen. Thanks. Go ahead.
Ira Mintz, Highland Park. I want to add something to that woman in the blue sweater. Spoke about the ACA. I think it's important to remember that we lost the last election in part because there was a demagogue out there who was saying that he would lower deductibles and lower premiums, and that the ACA was a disaster, right?
Absolutely.
The problem for the Republicans was that they couldn't come up with a plan that would lower premiums and lower deductibles. They just were going to destroy the ACA with no alternative that would meet the needs of their constituents. But if the Democrats don't address those problems with the ACA, and I'm not talking about, little tweaks around the edges. If there isn't a proposal out there, such as public option or single payer, that really addresses what resonated with the voters, then we're just setting ourselves up for the next demagogue who's going to run as a Republican and say, I'm going to make the ACA better, I'm going to lower your premiums, I'm going to lower your deductibles, and the Democrats are going to miss the opportunity to do what really needs to be done with health care, which is treated as a right and provided for all citizens of the all people in the United States. So I think what I'm hearing from you is when you say you agree, yes, you think the public option is a good idea, and that whether it be Medicare for all or some other proposal is a good idea, but it's more than just aspirational. I think it's really a necessity that the Democrats embrace that, or there's going to be a real problem because the next Paul Ryan or Donald Trump's going to come along and say, I'm going to be able to do that. The Democrats have this ACA which doesn't work. Your premiums have gone up, your deductibles have gone up. So unless we have a way to address that now and present that as a proposal, I think we're opening ourselves up for another loss.
Well,
So
that's a fair point. I mean, but all I'm trying to say to you is I can talk aspirational about what I'd like to do, but I also have an obligation to try to work with what we have.
nobody's saying that you shouldn't, if there's a bill out there that will make it better, but in the long run, those little tweaks are not going to provide health
I
care for
understand.
America.
The one thing you made me think about, though, and maybe we'll end with this because I think we did, although Patrick is, we're going to let him speak and he'll be the last one.
Okay.
All right. Because I think we said we were going to be done. Well, actually, I said 5 minutes. But anyway, the one thing that I think that you kind of made me think about, it's not what you said, but made me think about, is part of, I think, what's happening here and why I think that, when we heard that if the Republicans were successful and Trump got elected, that, the first thing that we want to do and the priority would be to repeal the ACA, a lot of my colleagues said to me, and I didn't necessarily believe it, they said, Congressman, this isn't going to happen. This is back in November. And I said, well, why not? They've got the votes. And they said, no, you don't understand. You're now taking something away from people. It's a little different from when you want to give people something. It's a very different story. But I don't know if I would phrase it that way. I think that what happened in the last few months is not so much I got something and you're taking it from me maybe, as this sort of realization on the part of people that the government should provide health insurance. In other words, that it's like a basic right. And I think that was always kind of out there, but it wasn't necessarily on people's minds. That's what I'm starting to get now. I mean, I think a lot of people start to realize because of this debate over the last few months that, the government can provide health insurance.
They already do.
Can help us do it.
They already
and they
do.
should.
They already do. Medicare.
Right, and they should, And, well, the government lets you go to the emergency room, but they didn't necessarily give you insurance, right? Or they didn't necessarily help you with your insurance. And so, maybe that lays the groundwork for what you said, and that the public attitudes changed, and people now understand that, having health insurance should be a basic right. So that's what I was thinking about. So thanks a lot. Patrick, what were you going to say?
Just a quick question. I'm hearing a lot about, frustration versus, let's say, the Republican majority in Congress, and the need perhaps to have a more national, almost like a platform before we actually have a presidential candidate that people can find out about, contribute to. Is there a framework? Because I think that's what we need.
Well,
if you're
there
going
is.
to take back a district in Kentucky,
I know.
you're
we
going to have to
we always have it every 4 years with the.
But I think we
party
need to have
platforms.
those ideas out in front when we come to the next congressional election. And I especially think it's, tax reform, because I think that's the issue where you can go across the board, blue state, red states, that, that may disagree, let's say, on sort of like, coal country will think this or that. But, there's plenty of working families out there that need relief and are seeing, the 1%, basically not paying their share. So is there a framework to kind of develop that, kind of a national platform before we actually get to, the election, by which time it's almost too late, because we haven't really addressed the congressional issues?
I mean, the answer is sure. I mean, obviously there was a platform, national platform as part of the presidential election. And, we in the House, in developing, in preparing for the next election, will have a platform as well. But the problem goes back to what several people said tonight. It's not that these platforms don't exist, it's just that people don't know about it, or they don't necessarily believe that we're going to do it, And so that's the problem. I mean, I think, the issue is how you overcome that. It didn't happen this year, but for many times I don't remember it happening this year, but many times after a presidential election, I think is it the New York Times or CBS does a poll. And it always comes out, I didn't see it this year though, that, something like 70–80% of the public who voted on election day agree with the Democratic platform. And like only 30% or so agree with the Republican platform, but nobody either knows what's in it, or they know what's in it and don't believe they're going to do it. So part of the energy and, the effort on the part of progressives is to not only say what we're going to do, but also to make people know it, and then also make people believe that if they vote, that we can effectuate it, So there's all that. But I see your point, and I think a lot of you have made that point here pretty well, so thanks again.
Thank you.
All right, Well, I just want to thank everybody for coming, and we are going to have other town meetings, but I'm glad that we have one this is here in Highland Park, and thank you so much, really. Oh, I should also mention, we have an office in New Brunswick, right on Church Street, 67 Church Street, open 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. You can visit, call there, you can email us. You don't have to wait for a meeting like this to express your views, so thanks again.